Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking to you about one of my favourite subjects ever, which is tattoos. If you already follow me on social media, my name on Instagram will be written in the description below, but it's the same as what it is on here, Holly Inked. Then you'll know that I absolutely love tattoos and it's one of the most important parts of my life, in all honesty. I keep getting asked to do like a video talking about my tattoos and stuff like that, but today is going to be a tattoo do's and don'ts. So this video should help you if you don't really have any tattoos yet and you're not really sure what to look out for, or just if you're wanting to collect a few more tattoos. So I'm going to talk you through a bit of my personal experience. I've been getting tattoos now for about 6 years, but I've been starting to get quite heavy coverage in about the last sort of 2 to 3 years. It's slowed down a bit at the moment, but I'm hoping to get back on it as of next year. So the first thing is you're going to want to pick your tattoo studio. In terms of tattoo studio, I think environment is so important. I've been to a couple of studios where you just walk in and you don't feel welcome, you don't really feel invited, you don't feel like, I don't know, when you just walk into somewhere and you just don't get a good vibe. If you walk into a tattoo studio and your first impression isn't, I really like this place, don't get tattooed there. I mean, you're going to be giving these guys, probably the reality is, quite a lot of money, so you want to know that you feel comfortable and you feel welcome and you feel happy in the environment that you're about to get tattooed in. I always find as one of the most important things as well is it clean? If the tattoo studio isn't clean, the chances are your tattoo isn't going to be good, because it's something that's going into your skin. It's so important, making sure that needles are sort of still secure in their packaging and stuff like that. Like, you watch their setup, you make sure that everything is wrapped that is absolutely possible. One big thing is gloves. So a lot of tattoo artists, they'll wear gloves and then they might drop something, they'll pick it up and they won't change their gloves, or they'll answer the phone in the middle of a tattoo and then they don't change their gloves. That's hugely important because you're having something in your skin. It's really important. Hygiene. I'm not a tattoo artist myself, so obviously I don't know the complete ins and outs of the hygiene side of it, but I do know if I look around and I see people especially not wearing gloves or not changing them when they need to, or just things that aren't wrapped properly, like if parts of their machines are exposed, that's not a good thing. Cleanliness is so important. Or I always like to go to the toilet, so go in the bathroom, check it out. If the bathroom's gross and disgusting, the place isn't clean, don't get tattooed there. You wouldn't go into a hospital and then everything be dirty and disgusting, and tattooing should be a medical grade standard of cleanliness as well, because ultimately it is things that are going into your skin. It's just as important as what a hospital environment is. So make sure the studio you're going to is really clean. But the environment's important too. You want to walk in there and feel good, especially if it's one of your first tattoos you've ever got, or just if you're a slightly more anxious or nervous person. You don't want to walk in somewhere and think, these people don't seem very nice, or just if you just don't get a good vibe from it, which actually leads me quite well into my next point, which is the tattoo artist that you're going to. Like, how do you know if a tattoo artist is going to be good, or how do you know if a tattoo artist is going to be nice or not just trying to get money out of you? I have done it myself, especially at the beginning of my tattoo journey, and gone to people that haven't given me the best tattoos. They've just tried to get more money out of me. And you know what? It's actually really easily done, because I was quite vulnerable. I didn't really know anything about it, especially when I was like 19, walking into a studio, walking around next to the people that are head to toe covered in tattoos, who, normally talk to you in a way which makes you feel like you can't really say no or question too much. If you go into somebody that you don't feel like you're going to get exactly what you want, just don't go there. Just don't bother, because at the end of the day, it's going to be on your skin forever and you might regret it. I've got a couple of tattoos that I regret, and if I could watch a video like this now and listen to someone tell me, do you know what, don't go there. If they're not a good person and you don't get good vibes, don't go there. But I didn't have that, so I went there anyway, got a crap tattoo, and then had to cover it up. So I'm trying to prevent that from happening to you guys. I think make sure you get on with your tattoo artist to start with. That's really important. But for me, it's more about things like when you show them designs and stuff like that, are they excited about it? Like, are they like, You know, when someone's like, yeah, like you feed off someone's energy and they're really excited to do it, and then they come up with different ideas that maybe you could try and do and stuff, and like they might go, yeah, but have you thought about maybe doing it like this and like moving it in this way so it fits your body better in the position that you want it, in the placement you want it, blah, blah, blah. Things like that make a good tattoo artist. Things like, you can't have it in that size, it needs to be bigger because it's not going to work. They're trying to get money out of you. Unless you want literally like a portrait this big, then, you know. But people that are like, no, you can't have that, you have to have it like this, or you have to have it really big, or unless it's a cover-up, that is different, because normally you do have to have it quite big, but that's a whole nother video. If you go in there and you've got an idea of something that you want, like you've done the worst thing that people do, which is find a tattoo online and then show the tattoo artist. If they trace that tattoo, don't go there. Don't steal other people's artwork. Tattoos are meant to be individual for that person. If you've got like a different idea and then you get that tattooed and then someone shows someone a photo of it and they get that exact same tattooed, it defeats the whole point. Tattoos are meant to be individual and meant to make you feel slightly different, and like you've got something that's personal to you. If other people then copy that, how is it personal? It's not. It's just another trend. Granted, like, how many people have rose tattoos? Loads. I've got roses like tattooed on my body. Like, everyone's got rose tattoos. I've got even some there. Like, I've got loads. But I haven't just found a picture and then got the exact same thing traced. If your tattoo artist doesn't redraw you up something and customize it in some way, shape or form, even if they use that photo as a basis and then create you something, if they don't do that, don't go there. They're, in my opinion, not a good tattoo artist, because they're just copying somebody else's work, and, you know, you shouldn't copy other people. Like, you can get ideas and inspiration, but don't just flat out copy someone's work, and that is more down to your tattoo artist than it is down to you, because you can find pictures or drawings or even tattoos that you like, but make sure they customize it for you. Otherwise, what are you paying all this money for, really? You're paying for someone to trace something onto your skin. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to pay a day rate from a tattoo artist for that. The other thing as well, if your tattoo artist is trying to convince you to have something else that you don't necessarily want, which happened to me with my shin pieces. I didn't want something in colour, and my tattoo artist convinced me to get it in colour. Chances are they're not the tattoo artist for you. The tattoo artist I went to specialised in a completely different style to which I wanted, and instead of them going, do you know what, that's not really my style, I'd recommend you go to this person in this place, or I'd say, do you know what, I'm not actually that comfortable with doing it, which makes a good tattoo artist. They went, yeah, sure, I can do that, but I think you should do it like this. And I just went, okay, because I didn't really know any better. But that's not a good tattoo artist. Well, do you know what, actually, I take that back. She is probably a good tattoo artist for some styles, but not for all, and especially not for what I wanted, which is why I stopped going there. But it's like, so I'm a hairdresser, if you don't know already, and in my job, if someone comes in with really long hair and they want a haircut, I'd cut their hair, but I'd say, in future, I'd probably go to this person or this person, because I don't specialise in long hair. I specialise in short hair. So if you want a barber or if you want a woman's short hairstylist, I'm the person for you. You should always recommend people to go somewhere that is going to be better for them, because otherwise you're not going to get the best, and everyone deserves that, really, at the end of the day. So yeah, I think for tattoo artists, you need to make sure, one, they're not tracing something. Two, you get on with them really well, because you're going to be sat with them probably for a few hours and you want to bounce off of each other. You want to make sure they're actually interested in doing what you want them to do. You want to make sure they're not just trying to rip you off. That might be difficult as well, but then maybe get a few different quotes, or ask them what their day rates are and stuff like that. Maybe you'll find yourself getting a better deal if you got a half day or a full day. Not really sure, completely depends on the person. Yeah, so I think the artist is really, really important, because I've definitely been to people that I regret going to, and it's not fun when you get a few years down the line and you think, well, that looks crap. Next on my list is aftercare, which is, again, a really, really, really important thing. Again, I'm in no way, shape or form a tattoo artist. I am a tattoo collector, but I definitely have a fair few, so this is just what I get on with personally. Not everybody is going to. I mean, one of the first slightly controversial things I'm going to talk to you about is wrapping tattoos. Now, every tattoo artist I've ever gone to has wrapped my tattoo when I've got it done, and the first thing I do when I leave the studio is unwrap it. I don't like having tattoos wrapped. In my personal opinion, I view it as like you're creating a warm environment where you've got basically essentially like a weeping wound, and you think that is like the perfect environment for bacteria to grow. I like to let the air get to it. I like to let my tattoo breathe, and I like to keep it completely uncovered. So if it's on my leg, for example, I wouldn't then go and wear jeans the next day because that's stupid. Don't do that. I leave the whole area uncovered if possible. Obviously, if you've just got a chest tattoo, you can't just walk around topless. I mean, maybe you can, you know, each to their own. But I wouldn't walk around topless, so I'd make sure I wore something loose over it, kind of thing. But yeah, so I wouldn't wear any items of clothing that are tight over it. But just for that side of it, I wouldn't wrap my tattoos. And I've tried wrapping in the past, and I actually found that it took a lot longer for the tattoo to heal. It's the same as like if you get a cut or something like that, they tell you not to don't over fuss it. Just let the air get to it, let it breathe, and it will heal itself. In my opinion, tattoos are kind of the same thing, just let them heal. I personally wouldn't wrap a tattoo. That's pretty much the first thing that I would always say. The second thing as well is I wouldn't overwash a tattoo. I mean, again, the same as a wound, or like when you get a piercing, you can overwash it. So with my job, I have to wash mine a little bit more because I get hair and stuff like that in the tattoo, which is obviously not good, and like hair products. But if I didn't do that as a job, I'd probably do it twice a day. Once in the morning when I got up, and all I'd do is literally run some water over it, blot it, don't rub it, but blot it dry. Normally with something like kitchen roll if you can, because you don't want to do it with a towel and get loads of fibres stuck in it. And then I'd put the cream that I'd use on it. And I do that again at night before I go to bed. And that's pretty much it. In terms of the actual cream aftercare, I've tried so many different things, and there's only really a couple of things that I've got on with. I find that you want something that's quite soft, because as soon as you've got a tattoo, it's red, it's raised, and it hurts. The last thing you want to be doing is using something that's quite hard and solid and trying to rub that into a tattoo. It feels horrible. You want something that's nice and soft, quick and easy, and lasts. I use this Palmer's cocoa butter. It's amazing. I wasn't sure if there's going to be loads of black in here from my tattoos, but it looks like this, and it just melts straight away. It's nice and soft, especially if you've just gone and got yourself, like I've got like a nice big sort of like blackout. Something like this is so nice because it's very soothing and it's soft. You don't have to put a lot of time and a lot of effort into rubbing it into the skin, and especially when it's swollen, that's the last thing you're going to want. And it even says smooths. It's very nice and smooth. The other thing that I have used, which I quite like, is from Lush, their Ultra Balm. Is it called Ultra Balm? Yeah, it's called Ultra Balm. I got recommended this from obviously the people at Lush, and as you can see, it's a lot more solid. I think for quite small tattoos, so like for example like my little thumb tattoo there, or like little tattoos that I've got sort of like around, this is quite good for those sort of ones. Or it's good for when you've got over that initial healing point. I find that then the cocoa butter, once your tattoo is sort of, you've got over the really painful kind of stage and it starts to peel, I find that with the peeling gets too sticky and too gloopy and it's just not nice. You want something a little bit firmer then. And then also when you rub it in, sometimes you do take off any of the excess sort of like tattoo that's sort of like coming away, which is completely normal if you haven't got a tattoo before and you're worried about it coming out. Because I had a girl at work panic about this the other day. That's normal. It's the excess ink coming out. Don't worry about it. I'd rather use something harder at that point in time because it just seems to sit in your skin better. So I'd say initially you want something nice and soft like the Palmer's cocoa butter, and then once you've got over those, probably normally first 3 to 4 days, you want something a little bit harder like Lush's Ultra Balm, which will just help heal your tattoos really nicely. After that, a lot of people would then just say, that's it, you don't need to do anything with your tattoos, which I disagree with, because the worst thing for me with tattoos is the sun. Now, all tattoos are going to fade and go a little bit horrible in the sun because the sun isn't obviously in big doses isn't good for tattoos, but especially with things like this, if you've got quite a large tattoo or like a large blackout area, the last thing you're going to want is a lot of sun exposure on it. So I would recommend personally whacking a factor 50 on that and keeping it regular. Obviously don't do that until your tattoo is actually healed. If you say you got a tattoo in the middle of summer and you had like a big area and you're thinking about like going to the beach and stuff like that, just wait until it's healed. One, because of the sand and sea anyway, but you don't want a lot of sun on it. Wait till it's fully healed, and then I just keep factor 50 on it. And I'd also moisturize. So after I've showered, I always moisturize, if I remember, which I don't, but I do always try to moisturize so that, yeah, your tattoos just look better, because at the end of the day they're going to be on your skin forever, so you need to look after them. Once it's healed, that's not the end, because what you'll find is they do fade and they do warp and stuff like that over time. You obviously can't stop it warping, but you can keep it just looking nice and fresh. Lush actually do a tattoo balm, which you put on after the tattoo's healed, but I didn't personally get on with it because I found that it basically just made your arm a bit wet, or wherever the tattoo was, it just kind of looked like a bit of a wet, shiny area, which isn't really my thing. But I'd say moisturize and sun cream. Those are really important things in terms of tattoos. So kind of to sum up, make sure you're going somewhere clean. Make sure your tattoo artist is, one, decent. You've checked out their artwork. I don't think I actually mentioned that, but I would definitely check out their artwork beforehand. They're not just going to trace it. Have a consultation with them. Talk to them about it thoroughly. Make sure, I personally wouldn't wrap your tattoos. Just keep them exposed to, you know, the air. Make sure you're creaming them, keeping them dry all the time. Well, like keeping them dry all the time, but like cream them twice a day, morning, at night. And then after they're healed, make sure that you're keeping sun cream on them, keeping them moisturised, and then just leave them alone, basically. I hope you guys have enjoyed my tattoo do's and don'ts, and let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the drill. Check me out on Instagram as well. Give me a follow. Links in the description, but my name is Holly Inked on that as well. Let me know what you guys want to see from me next time, and I shall see you next Wednesday.